Hello everyone and welcome back. By popular demand, a lot of people have been asking me to continue on with my bookshelf tour series, and that is exactly what I am doing today. I don't know why, I have just been wanting to do the videos that I have been doing, and I've been putting off continuing with my bookshelf tour for absolutely no reason. But anyway, I'm excited to pick it back up, and now we're getting into my classics collection, which I am so excited for. If you have missed any of my other bookshelf tour videos, I have a whole playlist and I'm doing it by episodes, breaking down every single section of my bookshelves and my book collection. So if you would like to see that, I will link that all over. And today I think I'm going to take it from classics edition to classics edition. So today it is going to be solely Pan Macmillan Collector's Library editions. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about them. I'm going to tell you what they have inside, give you a little background on them and what they contain, how I like them, and when I go through every single different edition, I'm going to tell you my opinion of them, if I think they're worth it, if I like the edition, if they have good contents, extra material, whatever they have, and if you should add them to your collection. Pan Macmillan Collector's Library books, these are maybe my favorite books to collect because I love small books. They are absolutely exquisite and just everything about them is beautiful, which I will show you guys in a little bit, but I am also going to show you how I display them on my bookshelves and which ones I have in my collection. It's one of those things that I love to grow. I love growing my collection of Pan Macmillan books, so I'm very excited to show you guys the ones that I have, tell you which ones I have read, which ones I haven't read, which ones are my favorite, what they look like. They also have beautiful paintings on the back, not just the front, and the care and beauty that they put into every single edition is just everything that I could ask for from a publisher and book designers and artists. So anyway, this I'm holding up Anna Karenina because it is my favorite book. It is the exact book, the exact edition that I first read the book from and what made me fall in love with Tolstoy and Russian literature, and it's just the one that I immediately had to grab. So anyway, I'm going to show you guys how I display them on my shelves and then show you a little bit about what is inside each one and which ones I have and all of that good stuff. Okay, so this is as tall as my tripod goes. So I put you guys at a really weird angle, but hopefully you'll be able to see. So they start over here. I have my Pan Macmillans all spines facing out, and then facing out, front facing out, I have Leaves of Grass by Walt Whitman, which is absolutely beautiful because that's my favorite poetry collection. Then I have my Penguin English Library books, which I will get to in a future specific editions bookshelf tour video. And then I have, of course, Anna Karenina facing out, and then more books spine facing out. So anyway, I'm going to bring you guys a little bit closer so that I can show you every single book, tell you if I've read it, and yeah. Okay, so here is my left side of my Pan Macmillans. Going from left to right, I'm just going to turn Leaves of Grass so that my camera doesn't focus on it. The first book I have is Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the title or the author correctly, but that is my attempt. I love this cover art. I think it is stunning, just the koi fish with the lilies and the lily pads, so beautiful. And then on the back it just continues with lily pads and this beautiful boat with, I think, a red moon or a sun moon and stars in the water. If you guys don't know, I have a star tattoo, which I love very much. I love stars so much, but on the back it says, "Seeking means to have a goal, but finding means to be free." And what I love about Pan Macmillans is they not only have beautiful art on the front and back, but they always do have a quote from the book, and I love that. So as you can see on the inside pages, we have this beautiful, beautiful end papers. I love them so much. They're the same on every single edition. It tells you a little bit about the book, and then on the cover you can see it is the same kind of design as the end papers, but it's embossed into the cover. It's just the most beautiful thing. By the way, I haven't read this book yet. I think I got it in my P.O. box. I forget who sent it to me, I'm so sorry, but thank you so much if you did. Please let me know in a comment so I can thank you fully. But that is it. And then my next book I have is Songs of Innocence and Experience by William Blake, and it has his original artwork on the front and also on the back. It says, "Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night" on the back. Such a wonderful poem and quote, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Same thing, also all of them have gold edges. This one does have the original artwork in it, which I think is so beautiful, beautifully reproduced, and the colors are just stunning. So, like, look at that. Oh my god, so beautiful. Then the next one I have is Oscar Wilde's The Importance of Being Earnest and Other Plays. I love The Importance of Being Earnest. It's probably my favorite Oscar Wilde play, and I love that cover image. I think it's so great. And then the back one also has a similar one. The back says, "I am sick to death of cleverness. Everyone is clever nowadays." I think that's so great. And so again, same thing. This one obviously doesn't have illustrations because it's a collection of plays, but it is just absolutely wonderful. Oh, and a ribbon bookmark, which I didn't say. You can't go wrong with a ribbon bookmark. The next book I have is The Tempest by William Shakespeare. I was just talking about The Tempest in my summer reading TBR and recommendations video, and I for some reason want to read The Tempest in the summertime. I know you'd think A Midsummer Night's Dream is perfect for summer, and it absolutely is. It's my favorite comedy, but I haven't read The Tempest yet, and I feel like it would just be a good summer read. So on the back it says, "We are stuff as dreams are made on." Then the next Shakespeare play I have is my favorite tragedy, and that is Hamlet. How beautiful is this cover? I mean, it's creepy and beautiful all at the same time. And how beautiful is that back with Ophelia? I absolutely love it. It says, "Something is rotten in the state of Denmark." Such an iconic line. My favorite Shakespeare tragedy, though there are so many that I love. And then the last Shakespeare play that I have in this edition is A Midsummer Night's Dream, which is my favorite comedy, and this might be one of my favorite covers. I love Bluebell Forests, everything about this, love it so much. And on the back we have Bottom, who is one of the best characters in the play, and it says, "The course of true love never did run smooth," which is one of my favorite lines from the play. Just this whole play, if you're new to Shakespeare, I highly recommend starting with A Midsummer Night's Dream because it is hilarious and romantic, just a wild time. Highly, highly, highly recommend everybody read it. Probably my favorite edition of the play as well. Then I have Lark Rise to Candleford by Flora Thompson, and this was given to me by my friend Kira from Kira Foster, and I just love this cover. I haven't read the book yet. It just feels like a book that I would enjoy. And on the back we have that beautiful illustration, kind of mirrored but a different part of the image, and it says, "She longed to go alone far into the fields and hear the birds singing." And I think that's just a very Carolyn quote, because that's everything that I want to do. And I don't want to know too much about this book going in, so I'm just going to go in pretty blind, but having a feeling that I'm going to love it. So excited for this one. The next one is one of my favorite Charles Dickens stories, and that is A Christmas Carol. And we have this iconic image of Scrooge and Tiny Tim, and then on the back we have the dinner, and it says, "Bah," said Scrooge, "humbug," which is, of course, one of the most iconic lines. Again, same thing, beautiful gold edges, ribbon bookmark, and just a wonderful, wonderful edition. Now we're hitting more of my Charles Dickens books. Now we have Great Expectations. Great Expectations is my favorite Charles Dickens novel, and if you are new to Dickens, I highly recommend starting with A Christmas Carol or Great Expectations. And then on the back we have Was There Ever Such a Boy as This? Speaking of Pip, one of my favorite editions of it. I love that image. I love the colors and the tone, and I think it really suits the narrative really well. Then we have one of my least favorite Charles Dickens books, and that is The Pickwick Papers. I love The Pickwick Papers for what it is, because it was the start of Dickens, and I adore Dickens. I adore older Dickens, which I am finding out in the Dickens vs. Tolstoy book club. I'm not a huge fan of young Dickens, but I do appreciate his growth and his early work, and this is The Pickwick Papers. I'm not sure if it has illustrations. Yes, it does. I just skipped them though. I keep skipping them. Here's one. I don't love the Pickwick Papers, but I appreciate the Pickwick Papers. And then the next Charles Dickens I have is Bleak House. Bleak House I haven't read yet. We are going to read it a little later on for the Dickens vs. Tolstoy book club. Very excited. I know very little about the story, but I'm happy to go in not knowing too much. And then on the back we have this beautiful image, and it says, "The one great principle of the English law is to make business for itself." Kind of vague, but I'm interested. Then the last Charles Dickens book I have is Our Mutual Friend. Again, love this cover image. I just think it's so beautiful and atmospheric. And then on the back we have, "Is it better to have had a good time and lost it, or never have had it?" Interested to see what Our Mutual Friend is about, because like Bleak House, I'm honestly not too familiar with the story. The next book is one of my very favorites, and that is Tess d'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy. One of the most tragic, sad, heartbreaking books, but in the best way possible. I love it so much. And we have this beautiful image of a farm girl who is obviously supposed to be the representative of Tess, and then on the back it says, "Did you say the stars were worlds, Tess?" Oh my gosh, I never realized this tree is my favorite kind of tree. It's a horse chestnut, and I can tell because of the flowers. That is one of my favorite trees, after probably a weeping willow, but I adore horse chestnut trees, and I just realized that that is exactly what that is. Love it so much. Yeah, so probably my favorite Thomas Hardy book. And then the next one we have is Poems of Thomas Hardy, and this was given to me by my lovely friend Lucy from Crescent Pages. She also loves Thomas Hardy, and I am so excited to read more of his poetry. I have read a little bit of it, but I haven't read a lot. What I have read, I have adored. He is such an incredible poet as well as a novelist. "Oh, the opal and the sapphire of that wandering western sea." Oh, how stunning. I mean, just Thomas Hardy. The way he writes is incredible. Then the last one over here on the left side is, of course, Leaves of Grass by Walt Whitman. He is my favorite poet, my favorite poetry collection. I adore it. I love this cover image of the trees. I think it's a perfect representative of his beautiful nature writing and how much he loved the world. So it is Leaves of Grass selected poems. This isn't the entirety of Leaves of Grass. It's just a smaller collection. As you can see, it's not too thick. And then on the back it says, "Let your soul stand cool and composed before a million universes." So that is the last book on this side of my Macmillan Collector's Library shelf, and then I'm going to move you onto the other side. Okay, and now we are on the right side. Of course, the first book that we have is Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. This book just brings me happiness when I look at it. Just want to show you again the beautiful cover. You can kind of see that this one is a bit dirty because I did read the book, or I think it's just fuzz, but this is the book that I did, of course, read from the first time. What I love about these editions is that they are pretty sturdy, and they do, you know, they last, and you can kind of beat them up and they'll still keep their shape, which is very important for a big book that'll take you a little long to read. Then the next book that I have is Anne of Green Gables by Ellen Montgomery, one of my very favorite books ever. That's how I picture Anne, and I love the lighting. I love how there are these like patches of light on her hair and how she's holding a book. The clothing is so beautiful, her two braids, just everything about this painting I think suits the story so well. Anne of Green Gables, the whole entire series, holds such a special place in my heart, and I love it so much, so this edition just means the world to me. And then on the back we have this another very Anne moment with her swinging from a tree. It's just so Anne. I love it so much. On the back it says, "Isn't it nice to think that tomorrow is a new day with no mistakes in it yet?" And that is because Anne, throughout the whole first book and throughout the series, makes quite a few mistakes, but always learns from them in the end. And I love that they put that quote on the back. Then the next book is what inspired my tattoo. That's The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, and on the cover you can see there are stars. The illustrations are black and white, but there are editions that you can get the colored versions. All of those stars really inspired my 3 stars on my wrist, but I do want to extend my tattoo at some point in the near future so that it like wraps around my arm, but this is what I have so far. This story, I have a hard time explaining what it's about because it's about so many things. It's about life, it's about humanity, it's about friendship, loyalty, love, happiness. It's so much in such a short volume, and it is geared towards kids, but I think it is the perfect book for all adults, and I love it. It's my favorite book ever. It's in a different category that Anna Karenina is in. I love them both so much, but it's so hard to say, like, I don't think I can say I love one more than the other, but this one just, it means so much to me that I can't even express. It says, "Where do you come from, little man? Where is your place?" Then the next book I have is The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. This is another one of my favorite books absolutely ever. It's beautiful. It is about Mary Lennox. I don't want to say too much. If you've never read The Secret Garden, it is perfect for spring and summer, so this is the perfect time to read it. And it is just one of those books that I read and I get completely immersed in it. It means so much to me because I see a bit of myself in Mary and her discovering this love of nature and this garden and the friendships that bloom as well as the flowers that bloom, and it is a perfect story in my eyes. And on the back it says, "It was the sweetest, most mysterious looking place anyone could imagine." The next book is Emma by Jane Austen, one of my favorite Jane Austens, one of the most iconic first lines in Jane Austen literature, and that is, "Emma Woodhouse, handsome, clever, and rich, with a comfortable home and happy disposition." Love it. And the next Jane Austen I have is Persuasion. I love this edition. I think it is so beautiful. That cover image is just so lovely, but it is not my favorite Jane Austen, although I feel like on a reread I might love it more than I did on a first read. On the back it says, "You pierce my soul, I am half agony, half hope," and that's one of my favorite lines from the book, probably my favorite line. The next book I have is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, the one and only. And then on the back we have the man himself, Fitzwilliam Darcy. Love him so much. Oh my god, huge crush on Mr. Darcy. The back says, "You must allow me to tell you how ardently I admire and love you." Come on, come on. I love the pen and ink illustrations that are in Jane Austen books. I think they are stunning. How beautiful is that? So that is Pride and Prejudice. I actually got this edition. I can show you. Where did I get this edition? I got this edition stamped at the New York Public Library. My best friend Emma and I that went to school together, we took a trip to the New York Public Library and we each got a copy of Pride and Prejudice and we got it stamped. Then the next book I have is Jane Eyre. We have Thornfield Hall in the background, and the back is a semi-spoiler, but it's such an iconic line that I kind of feel like everybody knows. Everybody knows. Then we have Agnes Grey by Anne Bronte. I actually haven't read Agnes Grey yet. The only Anne Bronte book I have read is The Tenant of Wildfell Hall. "What a fool you must be," said my head to my heart. Then the next book I have is Heidi by Johanna Spyri. I haven't read Heidi, but I grew up watching the movie adaptation with Shirley Temple, which I loved so much. And it says, "All night she slept soundly on her bed of hay, dreaming of nothing but of shining mountains." I'm hoping to read it sometime in the winter because I think that's just the perfect time to read it. Then we have The Age of Innocence by Edith Wharton. I didn't love this book, to be completely honest with you, and I thought maybe Edith Wharton is not the author for me, but then I read Ethan Frome by Edith Wharton and I loved it, so I'm thinking her books might just be hit or miss with me. So we will have to see. I'm going to keep trying with her books. And then this is what the back looks like. It says, "We can't behave like people in novels, though. Can we?" The next one I have is one of my favorites, and that is Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll. Of course, we have this iconic illustration of Alice, and then on the back, "Curiouser and curiouser," cried Alice. Love it. Such a bizarre book, but so imaginative. These illustrations are just exquisite. Like, absolutely love them. They are just full of imagination and wonder, and of course wonder. Like, look at those. Just the line work is so beautiful. Anyway, I could fawn over this book for ages. We have Pinocchio by Carlo Collodi, and I love Pinocchio. I am Italian, and this is a wonderful Italian classic, and it really speaks to the culture of being Italian, which I really, really love. Then on the back it says, "I think I will call him Pinocchio. It is a name that will bring him luck." Then we have Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's The Best of Sherlock Holmes, and I have actually never read any Sherlock Holmes before, but I'm hoping to soon. I do have A Study in Scarlet, but I did also get this edition because it is the best of Sherlock Holmes. "My name is Sherlock Holmes. This is my intimate friend and associate, Dr. Watson." Then we have Gustave Flaubert's Madame Bovary. So many people tell me to read this book because it reminds them a lot of Anna Karenina, and I have been meaning to read this book for ages and I just haven't yet. I don't know why. I keep putting it off, but I need to stop doing that. On the back it has this beautiful image, and it says, "She wished at the same time to die and to live in Paris." Then the next one is Gulliver's Travels by Jonathan Swift. "Thus, gentle reader, I have given thee a faithful history of my travels." That's probably the last line if I had to guess. Excited to read that eventually. Don't know when. I'm not like itching to read it. And then the next book is The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli, another Italian classic. The prince who causes another to become powerful thereby works his own ruin. Second to last, we have The Hunchback of Notre Dame by Victor Hugo. I grew up watching the Disney movie, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I'm assuming it is incredibly different from the book. On the back it says, "He turned towards mankind reluctantly. His cathedral was sufficient for him." But I'm very excited to read this and see what those differences are, and Victor Hugo's writing is always so beautiful. I have read Les Mis. It is actually right there, you can see it, that's Les Mis. And then my last book is The Happy Prince and Other Stories by Oscar Wilde. I am actually still in the middle of reading this, but I am loving it so far. It is a collection of fairy tales that Oscar Wilde wrote mainly for children, but I do feel like with most fairy tales, they are perfect to read at any age, and they are just wonderful with gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous illustrations. All of them. They're all so beautiful. Like, look at that. Oh my god. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. It's this one. Look at that image. Part of me really wants that as a tattoo. Oscar Wilde is one of those writers that I love everything that he says. He is just a master, absolute master of words. And on the back we have this image, and it says, "Any place you love is the world to you." And we have a beautiful swallow. So that is the last Pan Macmillan book that I have on my shelves. That's going to bother me if I don't fix this. Okay. So now I'm going to fix it back to how I had it. Gotta put Anna Karenina facing out. because I need to look at it at all times. Okay, back to Holding Anna Karenina. I just want to go over a little bit what is inside every edition and how they are formatted. So when you open it up, it has the title page, of course, and then it breaks it down into whatever parts the book is in. So Anna Karenina is broken down into part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then it has an afterword, a biography, and a selected bibliography. And then it goes right into part 1, so it has no introduction, no notes on the text or anything like that until you hit the back. So the afterword is at the back, and it isn't too extensive. It's only a few pages, and then we do have a biography, but it's very short. It's just that paragraph, and then selected bibliography, which is again quite short. So these aren't super extensive on extra information, textual information, forwards and biographies and afterwards, and they do have some information but not a ton. So if you're looking to get these editions for the contents, for the extra material, I would say these aren't the best for that. They're more beautiful and decorative, but they're not decorative in a way that you can't read them and wear them out pretty much. They are very sturdy. I love that they have the dust jacket because you can take the dust jacket off. They have a beautiful cover, beautiful end papers, gold edges. They're small, so like I said, perfect to travel with. The only complaints I think people might have with them is the paper is pretty thin. It's kind of like the Bible paper, and it doesn't have the biggest margins. So for annotating and for extensive reading, I guess where you want to tab it up, because of the gold edges, you might not want to put tabs in there, but that is obviously personal preference. If you want to tab it up, you totally could. If you want to write and highlight, you definitely can. It just might show through the pages, and you might want to use a pencil and not a pen because the paper is thin and the margins are small. Or you could use post-it notes and put post-it notes in here. But yeah, for annotating, not the best. So I would recommend maybe going with either a Penguin Black Spine or the Oxford World's Classics editions. Those are perfect for annotating and kind of wrecking, sort of, making the book look well loved. These are a bit more, they're not like the Penguin cloth bounds where you can't really wear them out, because I know the Penguin cloth bounds are prone to lifting the design on the cover, the colored design. This one you can throw in your bag, carry around, read it over and over and over, and it'll keep its shape. It won't get too wonky, and for a big book like Anna Karenina that I opened and closed a lot because I read this over a month, it's very sturdy, and I really, really love these editions. So I highly recommend them. They're probably my favorite editions of classics to collect, and I'm excited to start talking to you guys about specific editions of classics. And they're quite inexpensive as well. I know a lot of editions like Everyman's Library can be a bit expensive, and cloth bounds can be a bit expensive. So if you want a nice hardback, they're all hardback, but they're not annoying to hold because they're a small hardback. Usually I like the feel of holding a paperback, but I love the feeling of holding these hardbacks because they're small. And I have very small hands. I'm a small human, so I love small books, and they're just great. I love them so much. I can't recommend them enough. But again, if you don't like thin pages, small lettering, it does have quite small text if you have an issue with that, but it doesn't bother me, and I do have quite sensitive eyes. So yes, just keep those different things in mind. Thin paper, not perfect for annotating, not too much extra information, though they do give you some personal preference, I really think. So anyway, those are all of my Pan Macmillans. I hope you found this video helpful or useful or enjoyable in any way. If you have seen that there are any of these books that I haven't read that you think I should read or prioritize, definitely let me know, because I always appreciate when you guys do that, because it makes me excited to read these books. And let me know what you think about these editions. Have you read from them? What do you think of them? Do you like them? Do you not like them? Give any recommendations or suggestions that you feel like other people might learn from or enjoy or appreciate. Anyway, Thank you so much for listening, watching this video, and for always being so wonderful and such a lovely group of people. So anyway, that is the first part of my specific Classics Editions Bookshelf Tour Classics collection, and I hope you enjoyed. So I will see you soon in another video. Happy reading!